Welcome to Farming Aid.
When most people think of European cattle, names like Angus, Hereford, or Charolais usually steal the spotlight. But hidden in the background are two breeds that don't always make headlines, yet they've been proving their worth for generations: the Murray Grey and the Blue Grey. These cattle may not be as famous, but what they bring to the table is something every smart rancher and beef enthusiast should pay attention to. From their fascinating histories rooted in the UK and Australia, to their reputation for producing top-quality beef, hardy calves, and low-maintenance herds, these breeds show that sometimes the best performers are the ones flying under the radar. In this video, we're going to dive deep into why Murray Greys and Blue Greys are the underrated European breeds you need to know, and why they could be the hidden gems that reshape the way you think about cattle. Let's start with the Murray Grey. Though technically an Australian development, its story is deeply tied to European cattle genetics and traditions. Back in the early 20th century, a shorthorn cow in Australia, bred to an Angus bull, gave birth to a calf with a distinct silver-grey coat. This was the beginning of something entirely new. That calf carried not only a different color but also a remarkable combination of traits: beefiness from the Angus, maternal strength from the shorthorn, and a temperament that was calmer than most cattle of the time. Ranchers noticed quickly. Over the years, more calves like it appeared, and by the mid-century, Murray Grey was recognized as a breed in its own right. What makes their story especially relevant to European cattle culture is that both of their foundation breeds, Angus and Shorthorn, are cornerstone British cattle. The Murray Grey is, in a sense, a refined export version of European breeding stock, optimized for efficiency, carcass quality, and environmental adaptability. Blue Greys, on the other hand, represent a much older and more traditional cross. They are not a standardized breed in the strict registry sense but rather a purposeful cross between a white-bred shorthorn bull and a black Galloway cow. This pairing produces calves with a distinct roan grey or smoky blue coat, which is where the name comes from. For centuries in the borderlands of Scotland and northern England, farmers have relied on this cross as a hardy, low-maintenance beef animal that thrives on rough grazing where other breeds might struggle. The Blue Grey became a farmer's cattle, easy to rear, resilient in harsh climates, and producing beef of outstanding eating quality. Unlike many commercial crossbreeds that appeared in the modern era of artificial insemination and genetic planning, the Blue Grey is a traditional, time-tested combination that speaks to the ingenuity of local farmers who simply wanted cattle that could handle their land and still turn a profit. Both Murray Grey and Blue Grey cattle sit outside the mainstream spotlight. They are not the breeds you'll find plastered on advertising billboards or dominating global semen catalogs. But that doesn't mean they are irrelevant. In fact, these cattle are arguably more suited to the challenges modern ranching faces than some of the so-called big-name breeds. Rising feed costs, unpredictable climates, consumer demand for higher beef quality, and the need for cattle that fit both small-scale family farms and larger operations are all pressures that make these underrated breeds worth paying attention to. The Murray Grey's standout feature is its beef quality. Carcass competitions in Australia, the UK, and even the United States have often seen Murray Greys win or place highly, even against more famous rivals like Angus. The breed consistently produces well-marbled beef without excessive fat. For ranchers, this means cattle that finish earlier, reach target weights on grass or grain, and provide carcasses that processors love. The coat color isn't just for looks either. The silver-gray hair reflects sunlight, giving Murray Greys a natural advantage in hot climates where black-coated cattle sometimes suffer from heat stress. This adaptability makes them suitable not just for temperate regions but also for warmer ranching environments where cattle need that extra resilience. On the flip side, Blue Greys embody rugged practicality. Their strength lies not in showing uniformity or registry marketing but in their performance on challenging land. Many upland farms in Britain still use Blue Greys because they are unmatched when it comes to turning rough forage and moorland grasses into high-quality beef. Their hybrid vigor, coming from the Shorthorn and Galloway cross, gives them a natural edge in fertility, calving ease, and growth rates. Hybrid vigor is often underestimated, but when you consistently breed two complementary parent lines, the offspring benefit from enhanced hardiness and productivity. For small-scale farmers in tough climates, blue grays often make more economic sense than purebreds that demand pampered conditions. Another fascinating point is how these breeds connect tradition with innovation. Murray Greys, while a relatively new breed by historical standards, embody the principle of creating cattle that balance efficiency, beef quality, and adaptability. They're proof that sometimes stepping away from rigid breed standards and focusing on practical results leads to long-term success. Blue Greys, in contrast, are living history. They've been bred the same way for generations, not because tradition demanded it, but because the results never stopped working. Farmers knew that a Galloway cow and a white-bred shorthorn bull would produce calves that simply did the job, year after year. There is a beauty in that kind of continuity, especially today when agriculture is often swept up in trends and constant reinvention. Temperament is another underrated trait where both Murray Greys and Blue Greys shine. Murray Greys are widely regarded as quiet, docile cattle. This calm nature makes them easier to handle, reduces stress in the herd, and even improves meat quality since less stressed animals generally yield better carcasses. Blue Greys, inheriting the gentle nature of the Galloway, also tend to be easy to manage. For ranchers and farmers, especially those working smaller herds without large facilities, having cattle that don't constantly challenge fencing or require aggressive handling is a major plus. Looking at market trends, there is reason to believe these breeds could experience a renaissance. Consumers are increasingly curious about the stories behind their beef, and niche or heritage cattle breeds are gaining attention for their quality and uniqueness. Murray Grey beef has a track record of winning over both chefs and consumers because of its tenderness and marbling. Meanwhile, Blue Grey beef carries the prestige of traditional British farming, the kind of authenticity that food markets and branding campaigns can leverage effectively. In an era when people care about traceability, sustainability, and authenticity, these cattle provide exactly the kind of narrative that resonates with modern buyers. In terms of global potential, Murray Greys have already demonstrated their ability to travel. They've been exported beyond Australia, finding success in the United States, Canada, New Zealand, and even back in the UK. Their Angus and Shorthorn roots mean they slot comfortably into European systems, but their unique silver-grey coat and calm nature set them apart. Blue Greys, while less likely to spread globally due to their reliance on the specific Shorthorn Galloway cross, still serve as a model for what regional breeding strategies can achieve. They remind us that cattle do not always need to be one-size-fits-all. Sometimes the best solution is localized, tied to the land, and built on generations of farmer knowledge. Another key point is efficiency. Murray Greys often perform well on grass-fed systems, finishing earlier than many continental breeds. With rising concerns about feed efficiency and sustainability, this makes them attractive for ranchers looking to reduce input costs without sacrificing carcass quality. Blue Greys excel in the same area but in a different way. They are low-input cattle. They don't need the best pastures or expensive feed to survive and thrive. For farmers working on marginal land, that's not just a convenience, it's a necessity. It's worth pausing to think about why these breeds are underrated. Part of the reason is marketing. Angus, for example, has become a global beef brand, recognized by consumers as a stamp of quality even if most buyers don't know much about the breed itself. Murray Greys and Blue Greys never had the same aggressive marketing push. They remained practical cattle, respected by those who worked with them but never pushed onto the global stage in the same way. Another reason is the nature of modern cattle industries, which often favor breeds that can be scaled and standardized across vast operations. Blue Greys, being a cross, don't lend themselves to large-scale uniformity, and Murray Greys, while more standardized, still occupy a smaller niche. But as agriculture shifts toward valuing sustainability, meat quality, and adaptability, these very traits that once held them back may become their strengths. For ranchers, this opens up opportunities. Raising Murray Greys or Blue Greys can set a producer apart in markets crowded with Angus and Hereford beef. They allow for unique branding, connection with heritage or regional traditions, and in many cases, a better fit for the land and the resources available. The breeds also carry lessons for the industry as a whole. That value doesn't always come from being the biggest name, but from being the right fit for the job. Imagine walking through a pasture in the uplands of northern England, seeing a group of blue greys quietly grazing rough grasses. They're not flashy, but they're thriving in conditions that might leave more pampered breeds struggling. Or picture a herd of silver-coated Murray Greys reflecting sunlight in an Australian paddock, finishing on grass with carcass quality that rivals the best beef brands in the world. These images remind us that cattle breeding is not just about numbers, but about balance, adaptability, and matching the animal to the environment. In the end, both Murray Grey and Blue Grey cattle deserve far more recognition than they get. They are not just curiosities or niche projects. They are proven, practical, and profitable cattle with unique strengths. Murray Greys bring the best of Angus and Shorthorn together in a modern package that fits today's markets. Blue Greys carry centuries of tradition, hybrid vigor, and rugged resilience that make them perfect for challenging farming systems. Together, they represent the kind of underrated European breeds that more ranchers and farmers should explore. If you enjoyed learning about these underrated European breeds, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more cattle and ranching insights, and drop a comment below to let me know which breed you'd like me to cover next. Your support helps me keep making content just like this.